Hello everyone, Silently here and welcome back to another Bedrock Edition tutorial. Today I'll be showing you how to build something that is very much needed and very much requested for the Bedrock Edition of Minecraft, and that is a fully automatic mob despawn system in your Minecraft worlds. This is actually a very simple, reliable, and lag-friendly design. We're basically going to be emulating the Java style of despawning mobs. So any hostile or passive mob that gets further than 128 blocks from any player in the world will be automatically despawned and deleted. This really helps with performance of just personal worlds, realms, servers, and I personally and a bunch of other people have been using similar systems in their worlds for a very long time with absolutely no issues. I'm going to be explaining how this entire system works in depth, showing you exactly how and why you should build it in your worlds. I also recently made another video on this entire mob spawning and despawning topic. If you have not seen that video, now is your time. Go watch it. That way you fully understand the situation and how much mob spawning and mob despawning really does impact the game, specifically mob despawning. We don't have a good system at all for it on the Bedrock Edition, and this system right here is a pretty simple solution. Go support that video as much as you can because it is helping convince the developers to actually add it to the Bedrock Edition. So to give you a little bit of a rundown on the system, this is the entire command block system right here, a solid 3x3x3 cube. Honestly, really simple and straightforward. I'll be explaining all of this in greater depth in the tutorial and more on this later, of course. But because we are using command blocks, we can actually determine exactly what we do and do not want to despawn in our worlds. You can fully customize this to, maybe not get rid of drowns if you just really like drowns. And I would also like to mention that any mob that has been name tagged will also never be despawned using the system as well. So if you, for some reason, wanted to keep this guy because you think he's cool, you could name him any name that you like and he would not be despawned, which is really awesome and honestly a great feature of this system. So the first person to really make a system like this on the Bedrock Edition was of course a Slack Lizard, and that was actually quite a while ago. Since he made his tutorial, a lot of refinement has been done on this kind of system, and I've also compacted it quite a bit as well, turned it into a nice little cube. But of course, thank you very much to Slack Lizard for actually introducing this kind of command block contraption to the general Bedrock Edition community. Link to his channel will be down below. Definitely check it out if you like technical Minecraft on the Bedrock Edition. So the way that this system works is you're basically telling it what not to despawn. So for instance, you don't want to have, villagers or something get despawned, so that is going to be on your list, of course. On screen right now, you can actually see a list of all of the things that we are not going to be despawning. You could, of course, remove these guys from the list, and then the system would also despawn them as well. Or you could add things to the list, and then they will be ignored from your despawn system. As you can see, there is about 50 different things on the list, too many to actually point out, but I have painstakingly gone through every single entity in the entire game to make sure that this is absolutely perfect. That way none of your precious mobs, entities, or just things in your world actually get deleted or killed. Trust me, I was thorough on this one. So you might be wondering why there's an armor stand in this system, or if you've seen any of Seth Bling's videos, you probably are just like going with it because these things are kind of amazing. Anyway, this is going to be used for keeping track of our scoreboard, actually, to keep track of how many mobs our despawn system has despawned. This is kind of an optional but fun system to have in place. Very simple to set up as well. You can even turn it off. So right now, as you can see, it's on the sidebar. Our system has despawned one mob. You can turn that off whenever you don't want it. You can even reset the scores occasionally if you feel like doing that. Overall, pretty flexible little thing. I would recommend setting it up because then if you play on a world for a long time, you could turn it on occasionally and see that maybe you've despawned like 1.3 million mobs. It's kind of incredible. So that is about all the basic information that you need to know about this system. Anything else that you need to know, I will be explaining throughout this tutorial. And a little note on this tutorial, you do kind of need to watch through the entire thing. You can't just watch half of it and implement that half in your world, because nothing will work and everything will be broken. So definitely watch through the rest of the video if you are interested in having this system in your worlds. The next thing that you need to do is establish a little bit of a command room. So this should be in the size of a chunk, so use any method that you feel like to find the chunk, completely mark it out so that it is a 16 by 16 area. And this should also preferably be down under the world. It's completely encased in bedrock. That way it's perfectly secure, and should also be very far away from wherever players normally are. That way they never randomly stumble upon it. Feel free to protect it in any other way that you like. But basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be turning this into a ticking area. That way our command despawn system is always running, always active, and always able to despawn mobs around the world. So to turn it into a ticking area, all we need to do is type it in the chat right here as we're actually standing in the chunk. Ticking area add, and then you want to do 3 little tildes space and 3 more little tildes. That's going to be your exact location, and then we can name this, just despawn or whatever you want. You don't need to add a name, but it does help for admin purposes. And now we have a ticking area right here in this chunk, which is very useful. This chunk will always be loaded, so don't put anything extra in here that could possibly lag the world. So the first thing that we're actually going to be adding is the kill chamber for all of our despawn mobs. So this system actually teleports the mobs into a kill chamber and then kills them. It doesn't kill them where they stand in the world, because then that would of course drop the items, and that's a whole big deal. It's much easier to just teleport them into a kill chamber. So we're just going to go to one of the corners and make a little 3x3 kill chamber. You want to make sure that this is definitely inside of the ticking area, because there's going to be a lot of mobs, hundreds of thousands of different mobs coming into this kill chamber all the time. So you definitely want to make sure that this is always loaded and that we always have this kill command running. So what you want to do is you want to set up a repeating command block. That is the purple one, and you want it to be repeat, unconditional, always active, and you don't want it to have any delay in ticks. And basically we're going to be putting this command in there. This command is going to kill everything that is not a player within a radius of 4 blocks. Make sure you got this absolutely set up perfectly. Maybe make a couple backups of your world. These kill commands are no joke. You want to make sure that this is absolutely perfect. So that's going to kill everything within a radius of 4. As you can see, I dropped that item in there. It gets deleted. You do not want to collect the drops from the mobs that you are despawning. That is going to be way too many drops to keep track of, and also those can build up very quickly. So now to start work on the actual despawn system itself, this can go anywhere in your ticking area as long as it is actually fully inside of your ticking area. Also, I would suggest, of course, putting it down at the bottom of your world. Place down a solid block. You want a lever right there with a piece of redstone dust on top of it. That is going to be the actual on-off switch for your entire despawn system. Going to be very helpful to have that. You also want to go ahead and make sure that you get yourself a repeating command block right there. We'll open that up in a minute. You want to also get yourself a comparator going into a impulse command block. That is these orangish ones, a redstone torch off the side of that, and then another impulse command block right there. What this little setup is going to do once we actually put the commands in there is going to detect when 2 players are just at the correct distance from one another, that player 2 could be deleting the mobs around player 1, or player 1 could be deleting the mobs around player 2. This basically prevents players from deleting the mobs in someone's mob farm or deleting all the mobs in someone's area. You'll also want to make sure that there is a piece of redstone right on top of this repeating command block right here, just so you don't accidentally, power that one when it shouldn't be powered. So opening up this command right here, you can see the command. It's a very simple command. Basically, this is executing at all of the players in the world, no matter what location they are at. And then it's testing for other players within that Goldilocks zone of, where player 2 could be deleting the mobs around player 1 and vice versa. So you can also see that this is a repeat unconditional needs redstone command block. The next command going out of that from the comparator is going to be a set block command, impulse unconditional needs redstone. And this is a very simple command, but this one you will need to customize your actual coordinates, your X, Y, and Z coordinates. Now these coordinates need to be right above your lever right here. So they need to be that exact block right there. Make sure you got the Y coordinate as well, and make sure you got all the negative numbers in there. So this one is going to be basically churning off the system whenever this one detects 2 players within that perfect range from one another. It's also going to be churning off that torch whenever this one no longer detects those players. It will then, fill that block back in with a solid block and re-enable your system. This one is the exact same command, exact same coordinates, but instead of air, we have a bedrock in there instead. So this is technically the last command of our command block system. However, there is still a lot more to do to properly set up the system, so don't just abandon the tutorial here. Until we are done, we're going to churn off of this system, that way nothing bad happens. And now we're going to place down the last command, the big one, the heavy lifter, the repeating command block that is unconditional and needs redstone. We're going to set this to delay in 5 ticks, that way it activates 4 times per second instead of 20, and that's going to help with lag significantly as well. Now, this is the big command that teleports everything not on this list to your kill chamber. As you can see, it's executing at all the players in the world, wherever they are, and teleporting everything not on the list. Now, the final bit of this command is going to be the coordinates of your actual kill chamber. Make sure you customize those as well. You need to get the coordinates of right above this command block and then put them into the final line of this command block. So the final thing that we need to do is we need to get the coordinates of our kill chamber, yet again, the exact coordinates, the same ones that you put into that command block, and we need to go to the nether. Now the thing is, this system actually affects all players in all dimensions. However, it cannot despawn mobs across dimensions. It can't pull mobs from the nether and put them in the overworld, so we need to set up a pretty similar system in the nether and the end dimension as well. We need a kill chamber in all 3 dimensions, that way you don't have a massive buildup of mobs that get despawned. So we're going to go to the nether, we're going to teleport to the coordinates of our kill chamber down below the nether, and this should be the exact block that our kill chamber should be at. And actually, look at that, it's kind of cleared out already. How convenient. So again, you need to put another kill chamber with the same kill command right here. This needs to be a ticking area as well. And of course, make sure no players can get to this area and completely encase it in bedrock. Do what you gotta do, but this doesn't need to be a ticking area. Make sure you add a ticking area here. Otherwise, you'll end up with something that I ended up with, which is about, maybe 10,000 guardians and like a lot of other mobs. It was not pretty. So for being honest, you probably don't need a kill chamber in the end dimension. However, I would recommend it. That way, you're doing everything proper. There's never going to be a massive buildup of a couple thousand endermen that do occasionally get despawned from the end dimension. So again, you'll need to, set up a proper chunk out here, set that to a ticking area, build your kill chamber right on the same exact block, the same coordinates as the one in the nether and the one in the overworld as well. So that is your automatic despawn system successfully installed. You can go ahead and flick the lever, turn the thing on, and reap the benefits of much less lag in your world. However, there's one more thing I would highly suggest doing, mostly because this shows that your system is actually fully functioning, and it's really cool to see the benefits of this system in action with a despawn counter going in the game. So add one more command block, make sure that this one is facing to the side with the arrows, and this also needs to be facing with this to the side with the arrows as well. This is going to be the green one, so chain, conditional, always active, and then we're going to drop this command in there like so, basically just adding 1 to our scoreboard. We're then going to drop an armor stand over here, mostly because these guys are pretty inert, they don't really do anything, and they don't move around. We're going to name this guy with a name tag, mobs killed, make sure that's capitalized correctly and everything, no spaces, and now we need to set up our proper scoreboards for this. So there's 5 commands that you need. All of these are pretty much a one-off, and we're going to run through them super quickly right now. The first command is going to be to actually create your scoreboard. You can also run these in the chat, by the way. So that's going to be this command right here, scoreboard objective add mob counter dummy, and then make sure you got the mob counter in there. That's going to be the actual name that shows up on the side of your screen when you turn the scoreboard on. This one right here is actually going to be showing you the number on the side of the screen. As you can see, when we press the button, actually we got to press that one first to create the scoreboard. Press that button. As you can see, it's now on the side of the screen. This one right here is going to be taking that off of the side of the screen. As you can see, when we press that one, it goes away. We can press that one to have it show up. This right here is just to add a score. You shouldn't really need this one, but it is kind of convenient. If we go ahead and press that, you can see that we have 2 armor stands named because we have one down over there for that system, and we have one over there for that system as well. If you go ahead and kill one of the guys, that'll take it down to just a single number. And then this one right here is going to be for actually resetting the scoreboard back to 0. As you can see, kind of useful command to have if you're doing some testing. So I hope that this video and this despawn system helps you out massively in your worlds. I know this thing has certainly helped out every single world I have ever used it in, and I have ever seen it used in. Like, this is seriously a very, very useful thing to have. Also, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, of course, let me know if you comment down below. Always trying to help you guys out as best as I absolutely can. And also, be sure to check out the video where I covered the mob despawning issue. And hopefully someday we don't need to build this system in the game, and despawning will just be a nice vanilla feature, and the entire game and the entire fan base will benefit from that being just like a part of the game, a vanilla feature. It would be awesome. But thank you all so very much for watching, and thank you so much for the support on the channel. I love your guys' faces. If you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. But I will see you all down in the comment section and in the next one. Thank you again for watching, and then there was silence.